welcome to Good Morning Anambra. It's Thursday, the 29th day of February 2024, and it happens to be the last day in the month of February. We're so delighted to see the end of this month, and we are hopeful to see beyond that. Thank you so much for always waking up with us on Good Morning Anambra show, and I hope you had a wonderful night rest. My name is Nonye Nwokoye, and we begin this program with the press review. Right, you're welcome to the press review. On press review this morning, we have two gentlemen in the studio to help analyze the papers. George Eche Obiokoye, a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
We have the President Emeritus CCDU, Enugu Development Union, and of course, Secretary Sanu Boni Ozonkwako. Good to have you in the studio.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the press review as usual.
All right. We have a lot. In Nigeria or wherever, world over, there are stories trending every day. Now let's begin with stories making their headlines on ABS website. Let's see stories on ABS website. As faulting completed on Ugunwa-Sike Ogidi by Enugu Onitsha Express Road project. Building collapse, Anambra State government sets up committee to investigate disaster. Soludo task traditional rulers, PGs on community development. Actually, I saw you in that video. You were there, so yes, it's like you let us know how it went.
Yes, I was there. Remember, I'm no longer the president general of my community, but by virtue of the fact that I'm a member of the ASATU executive, and it's a tenured something. So we are there, the ESCO members, then the PGs, the Igwes. Yeah, we encourage this kind of engagement. It is good, it is timely that the governor will engage community leaders, the Igwes and PGs from time to time to fill their pause. You know, the government does not operate in vacuum. The government needs the fourth tier, as it has become to be known in Anambra State. The town union is now a fourth tier of government. Officially, unofficially, it is now a fourth tier of government. So the essence of that meeting was to, once again, collaborate with town unions, primarily on security. The government, the security agencies, they need information. The criminals are not in the moon. They are not in the sky. Bad elements, they dwell in the communities. And the Igwes and the PGs, of course, in the Anambra State circle, the Igwe is the chief security officer. In the security council of every community, Igwe is the chairman, the PG is secretary. So these two people are involved in community security. The vigilante of the community, it is these people that determines who and who should be members. So anybody you are sending to the state as a member of the vigilante of your community must be signed by the Igwe, must be endorsed by the Igwe and the PG. Okay. So the onus lies on them to actually do something in their community. So the governor, in his wisdom, called this meeting. It's an interactive meeting, and another one will come up, soon, because it was advocated that this kind of interaction should be held from time to time so that the information gathering of the state will be strengthened. Then the communities will also pass developmental messages of government to the grassroots. Then the grassroots in turn, the communities, the PGs and Igwes will also get the feelings of the community and report back to government. In that meeting, several PGs spoke. You know, each was trying to x-ray the security challenges in his community. Some of these issues that came up, many of us, what is happening in this community may not be what is happening in another community. So we are there, we shared ideas. And a governor promised to address most of the issues raised in that meeting. So that meeting was very, very good. And any PG that absented himself from that meeting should ask himself a question. I recall in that meeting, the PGs wore black to, you know, mourn the brutal assassination of the PG of Umoji, Chief Sly Onyema, you know, who died over the weekend. That is why we always be careful the people we put in our house. We always be careful, as landlords, the people we put to come and occupy your house so that some of them could pose security risk. All
right, we can go on and on, but let's see. I don't know, do you have anything to comment on that ABS website story before we move to the first paper?
What I want to say is that the Anambra State government set up a committee
concerning the building collapse.
Yeah, the building collapse. And I think it's a very good development because the issue has been in the news. It's very concerning to people. A lot of people are already saying a lot of different things that government was aware. So it's very good that the committee was set up to look into the issue so that the citizens can be reassured that the government is doing the right thing.
Okay. Let's see. The first paper for review, the Daily Sun newspaper. Let's see stories making their headlines there. Okay, BVN banks set to freeze accounts as deadline expires tomorrow. 9 policemen killed trying to rescue kidnapped victims in Delta. Strike, no more late night meetings with federal government. That's coming from NLC. Ajero alleges militarization of union offices, accuses government of breaching agreement on Port Harcourt refinery. 8 died, 10 injured in Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Osun crashes. Tinubu to sign executive order against rising cost of drugs. Minister secured $1 billion Afrexim Bank grant for medical industrialization. Divestment, NNPCL warns investors against idle assets, quick money. And building an inclusive Nigeria that is fair to all. That's coming from our president. Peter will be happy with the approval of Oronsaye report. There won't be sack over it. That's coming from the minister. Makinde outlines measures to tackle rising food prices, suspends revenue collection on agri-produce. Okay, that's the much we have in front of the Daily Sun newspaper. Oni?
I think on this, the BVN NIN issue, as the deadline the bank have set, the information on this hasn't been well, publicized.
Thank you very much for
it hasn't been well publicized, so they should not go about freezing people's account. When, the kind of country we are living, people are hungry, there's hunger in the land, people think less of some of these issues. So there should be proper
enlightenment.
And enlightenment. I just, in my own enlightened world, I got this information only last week. So you can imagine that rural person in the village, and suddenly he goes to the bank to withdraw money. He will not have access to his or her money.
Just like what happened yesterday.
Please, banks should extend this deadline. Okay, yesterday, I thought it was peculiar to me.
No.
Until when I went online later in the night, and I saw people complaining, I couldn't make call for 2, I couldn't make call for 3. I thought, oh, this wasn't even exclusive to my own line. So there should be proper sensitization. This deadline should be extended. People are not aware. Even those, I know those in my office, I was telling this yesterday, they say, the bank did not send any message. Normally, banks should even send messages
to their customers.
SMS, directly to the customers. Just like you get your debit and the credit alert. Just like you get other information in your email from your bank. Why are they not sending out this one so that people can be aware and do the needful?
Okay, let it not be what I'm thinking. No, you have something to say about that.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on the issue of the Orosanye report.
Okay.
That P2B commended President Tinubu for finally implementing the Orosanye report. And I think it's a good development. Many people were saying that this is the first time that our former governor, Mr. P2B, is commending
what the president
Mr.
did.
President for anything. And I think it's a good start because politics should not be all about criticism. If the president does something right, it's very good to commend him on that while also talking about other things that can be done. So I commend Mr. P2B, our former governor, for showing that all is not all about condemning, because the Orosanye report is a very good report that, if well implemented, it will save costs, it will merge so many agencies, and corruption will be reduced.
And I wonder why some people are against it.
Well, we are not against Orosanye report, but in Nigeria, such a report like this should be shrouded in secrecy. That's the fear of Labour. Labour is saying, let us see, line by line. Let us see everything about this report, whether it will lead to downsizing. Because if people will lose their job, their hard-earned money is gone because of this report. So let us get the assurance that this report won't lead to people losing their jobs. And on the issue of the former governor of Anambra commending the report, well, if it is true, it is good, because we don't always criticize. But sometimes when some of these stories come up, I take it with a pinch of salt. Maybe the man must have said something, and the way the press will catch it and interpret it.
All right, let's take a look at other papers now. We'll be taking two at a time. Daily Independent is what we are looking at right now. Tinubu assures Nigerians of proper lasting restructuring, says Nigerians' pains over economic hardship won't be in vain. Another story, Nigerian aviation sector bleeding needs government intervention. Edo PDP Guba bid at risk. Okay, Edo PDP Guba bid at risk as Shaibu threatens a court action. NNPCL OPEC to collaborate to attract investment, grow production. Quickly, The Guardian newspaper is next. Let's see stories in front of The Guardian. Nigeria spent about 50% of oil earnings on production costs. How FG threatened, intimidated us to suspend nationwide protest by Ajero. Pro-panel on Buhari's government, 30 trillion naira loan sits next week to summon CBN officials. Interest rate hike takes toll on stock market as investors lose 1.4 trillion naira. Other stories in front of The Guardian says IEDs killed 2 workers at Borno construction sites. Disconnection imminent as subscribers flood names telco outlets. All right, let's take a look at some of the stories. Which one are you looking at, Bonnie?
Well, as a Labour person, let me look at the story in the Vanguard about the suspension of the protests.
No, that Guardian.
Oh, sorry, Guardian. About the suspension of the protests. Yes, people will say a lot of things. People accuse NLC, oh, you guys have been settled. Why did you suspend this thing?
Actually, it was trending throughout the social media yesterday.
Yes, it was trending, but sometimes we need to understand the workings of the labor unions. You see, no responsible labor leader will want to, in the course of fighting for you, will also want to inflict further hardship on the person he's fighting for. Okay. If the aim of the protest, the 2-day protest, if the aim of the 2-day protest was achieved in one day, then why continue on the next day? The following day, Yes, there was no protest, but the labor leaders in all the states of the Federation and Abuja, they were also granting media interviews, you know, having access to media to say a lot of things about the agreement the government reached with labor in October 2023 that, you know, were being implemented haphazardly. So, and again, remember that in a letter suspending the protest, you know, that release that came out from NLC suspending the protest, there was another ultimatum given to government that will expire on 13th of March to allow government, because during the protest, there were engagements with government. So this window is to also allow government to do something within this window.
And it's equally important for people to understand that people are losing interest in NLC because of there are so many things people are saying. Yes. That this NLC seemed to be weak. That is not as when Adams Oshomole was the leader of NLC, and one begins to wonder what actually has been going on.
The scenario under Adams Oshomole is not the same scenario now. You know, that time we're just coming out of military rule. And then there was a lot of things, you know, to be handled that time. And then Oshomole came up and did the needful, though at the tail end of his administration, these accusations and counter accusations were also coming up. Now, each regime, they have their own peculiar way of tackling things.
All right.
This time Nigerians we're talking about now, if you say, okay, let's do this thing for 1 week, it is these people that still come and start accusing you, oh, you are doing this and come and stop. No, listen to them, stop this and that.
Okay, let's leave it at that and move on. Okay, you have something to say on...
I wanted to comment on the Daily Independent. That Tinubu assures Nigerians of proper, lasting restructuring. And
that our pains will not be in vain.
Yes, because, you know, the issue of restructuring has been on the front burner. Right from
Buhari administration,
or even before Buhari. I know President Jonathan convened a national conference to address that issue of restructuring, and he couldn't implement it because of political exigencies. But then, if President Bola Tinubu can actually give us this restructuring, then his legacy, his name will be remembered. Because so many anti-progressive forces have been kicking against restructuring, which will improve development. It will bring about more merit in the sharing of resources and generation of so many things. So I commend Mr. President, and I also want to comment on the Edo primaries. Shuaibu threatens PDP. The issue of Edo primaries in most of the parties, it's almost shameful because it shows that our democracy is still very young. We are still behaving like toddlers.
Exactly.
Almost all the major parties had problems in their Edo primaries. And now the deputy governor of Edo is threatening the party while the party announced that another person won the primaries, I think Idahosa. So we need to get things right. If it's needed for the National Assembly to straighten out all these primary issues, then let them do it so that we'll have more clarity and not always chaos.
All right. The next paper is the Punch newspaper. We take a look at the Punch and the Nigerian Tribune. Okay, the Punch first. Same name linkage, NCC rules out extension. Telcos bar 12 million lines. MTN, Airtel, others vow to enforce NCC order by midnight Wednesday. All right, so many things happening at the same time in this country. All right, Oshoba envoys, others comment Punch at photo exhibition. I take full responsibility, Nigeria will recover. That's coming from the president, giving us hope. All right, let's keep hope alive. Subsidy removal. Petrol import crashes by 990 million liters monthly. Soyinka delivers Punch 50th anniversary lecture today. FG to crash drug prices gets $1 billion from Afrexim Bank. Gridlock looms as president visits Lagos. Makinde suspends revenue collection on farm inputs. And now quickly, the Nigerian Tribune. Let's see stories in Nigerian Tribune. Tinubu in Akure, I will ensure fiscal federalism won't abandon economy to marauders, says Nigeria's patience, perseverance won't be fruitless, meets Afenifere leaders, visits Akeredolu's family, describes late governor as fearless fighter. And that's the picture you can see in front of that paper. The wife of Akeredolu with the president there. Nasima highlights threat, opportunities of CBN's interest rate increase, says new policy, a bold, decisive action to tame inflation. Okay, still on the Nigerian Tribune, Makinde moves against rising food prices in Oyo. Tinubu to sign executive order to reduce cost of drugs, and so many other stories. Now, I think this Makinde of a governor, you know, yesterday he joined the protests in his state, and today we're hearing that he's removing, in a bid to see that the cost of food comes down. He says he's removing, what is it called? Tax on food, agri products. And I don't know, it seems the man is closer to the people. What do you have to say?
Yeah, Governor Makinde is a very smart politician. He knows where the sentiments of the people are in this trying times. So it's a very good thing that he's aligning himself with the people and also putting up policies like the suspension of tax on agricultural products. So these are things that will alleviate the situation that is going around the country. Already Mr. President has begged Nigerians to hold on a little while he does some core restructuring and other things. So while we give Mr. President the time, we also encourage governors like Makinde that is setting the pace and reducing the tax burden on the citizens. So we encourage other governors to follow the footsteps of Governor Makinde.
Okay, Bonnie?
I recall in the days of COVID-19, what people were thinking about in those days was just how to feed food. Now, we are experiencing the problem we're experiencing today in Nigeria. And likes of Makinde, they have gone step ahead, you know, to go to that area that touches the people, the food. Many people will not be interested in what happens at the high echelon of Nigeria. But what they want is for them to have 3 square meals. So for likes of Governor Makinde, going to that area that touches the people is a step in the right direction. Then you talk about the fiscal federalism Mr. President is talking about. You see, this issue has been in the front burner. Nigeria is still operating, even though we have a federal constitution, but if you read that constitution very well, you see that we are still running unitary system of government. So much power is concentrated in Abuja. We need to devolve power to the regions and the zones. We need to make the local governments to really be autonomy. We really need to restructure. I'm happy that the party of the president, the former party of the president, ACN, and the other one, AD, these parties were the parties talking about restructuring. Other parties key in. Now, Mr. President has found himself in APC, and the APC is the government in power. Let them bring that philosophy of restructuring. Even if you don't get it 100%, restructure this country. I don't understand how a foreigner can come to my village to police it. He doesn't know the language of the people. He doesn't know the feelings of the people. He doesn't know the nooks and crannies where these people, the criminals hide. So I suppose state police, in advanced countries, even in some of our neighboring countries, police is localized. We have the state police, we have the private, they all work hand in hand. Each of them has its own area of jurisdiction. So we need to restructure the country, make Abuja uninteresting. It's because so much power is concentrated there. That is why it is interesting. That's why everyone wants to go there. What are we even doing with the kind of legislature we have?
And you think about, a doctor wants to do an internship in National Hospital Abuja.
Yes.
They say you go online. When you go online, you don't see any hospital in Abuja there because it's hot cake. You know, before you come, people have taken. All right, but
but I agree with the former PG because you know, like in the United States, Washington D.C. is not interested. It's is the headquarters of America, but the major places where things are happening remains in the States.
Yeah.
New York, California, Texas.
California, Texas.
These are people that have done this decentralization.
all right.
So the emphasis on Abuja is too much. And
we take a cue from developed world. All right, let's move on. The Nation newspaper. We take a look at stories trending in front of that paper. Tinubu, we are laying solid foundation for restructuring. Southwest expects a comprehensive rejig of polity. President visits Afenifere leader. Nigeria's economy not in a mess, says ex-UK envoy. Marking the moves against the rising food prices. Wigwe wife's son for burial March 9. Federal government insists rejig of agencies won't lead to job cuts. Now, President leaves for Qatar. Harvard honors for Elumelu Foundation. And President plans executive order to cut prices of drugs. Now, quickly, the Vanguard newspaper is next in our lineup. Let's see stories in front of the Vanguard. Oronsaye report, FG Labour disagree on job losses. Investors lose 1.5 trillion naira in stocks over new monetary policy. We called off strike over threat of intimidation coming from Ajero. Edogoba, fresh crisis brews in PDP. Wigwe family fixes the dates of burial rights. Okay, other stories, Tinubu to Nigerians, I won't rush to restructure. What are they writing here? Tinubu is giving us hope that he's going to restructure. Now, this paper is saying, I won't rush to restructure. I wonder what is going on. It says that Akeredolu was a fearless defender of truth. President is indeed Aketi's brother, friend, Akeredolu's widow, saying, okay, that's the much you take. Tinubu secures, okay, Afrexim Bank grant. And I hope that money will be put in proper use of the purpose of coming.
Course, it has to the purpose. After all, we'll be getting loans. We'll be getting support from donor agencies. Nigeria, you know, it's not lacking when it comes to foreign donor agencies supporting certain developmental strides. But what we lack here is accountability. And that is why sometimes when these foreign donors give you money, they want you to retire the money. They want to see how this money was spent. So if you didn't convince them how this money was spent, they will not bring it again. It is in this area that I still commend the former one-time governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi. You know, Anambra State, in terms of the federation allocation, we are among the least. But under his administration, things were going because of the trust, because of the partnership he had with these foreign agencies, and they were funding some of the projects in the state. So when they have your trust, they can give you more than you even asked. But when the trust is not there, when this money is diverted, when the money is pushed into some unproductive ventures, you come back again, they will not give you.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the issue of restructuring. You know, you said Mr. President said he won't rush to restructure. And I think
that's what Vanguard is saying. That's another version. That's what Vanguard is saying.
I think I understand. I think the president is trying to play to the middle with this issue of restructuring so that some other areas of the country will not feel bad, you know, if it is rushed. So, but I believe that it is better for the country, not just because the president is a original member of Afenifere, which their position all the while has been on restructuring. And if you go back to history, part of the problems of Nigeria, why there were so many queues, the Nzogu queue and all that, was to restructure and give more power to the regions or the states. And I keep saying it that if this president, who is a full-blooded Omoluabi from Afenifere, if he can get restructuring for us, it will be very good for not just Ndibo and the Southeast, but for the whole country, so that every region will go and hustle and not only to be depending on federal money.
All right, I think...
And it brings heady competition.
Yes,
I think
brings heady competition.
our time is fast spent, but quickly before we leave the stage, I think we take this story. Jakba, FG recruits 2,497 doctors, others. You know, when they say we have brain drain, we can see that actually it is true. And I would like to thank you so much for coming to the show this morning. George Eche Obiokoye, thanks for your time. Okay. And Bonnie Ozonkwako, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you so much.
All right, my name is Nonya Nwokoye. Do sit tight, we have more coming up on Good Morning Anambra.